Hello my friends and welcome back to Holistic Living Down Under. Today we are going to make white chocolate mud cupcakes with the Swiss meringue buttercream. The first thing we're going to do is preheat your oven to 160 degrees on a conventional oven or 320 Fahrenheit. Now this recipe can be done both in a conventional way or with a thermal cooker, so you choose what works best for you. Now for this recipe I'm going to be using my Thermomix. The first thing we're going to do is add in our white chocolate. Then we're going to add in our sugar. I'm just using raw sugar for this. You can use any kind of sugar you have at home. We're then also going to add in some salted butter. If you don't have salted butter, just add in a teaspoon of salt. And then finally you can add in your milk. You can use any kind of milk for this, but I've just used full cream milk for mine. Now, if you're using a Thermomix for this, you're going to heat this for 5 minutes at 80 degrees on about speed 2. In a pot, just heat it on low and stir continuously until everything is dissolved. Leave it to cool until it comes down to room temperature. Now, next thing we're going to do is add our vanilla extract or vanilla paste. I use about 2 teaspoons for this and it gives a really nice flavour. Then we're going to add in 2 eggs. I use large to extra large eggs for mine and that works a treat. We're going to add in approximately 1 2/3 of a cup of plain flour and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. If you don't have any baking powder, you can use half and half of plain flour and self-raising flour and that will work just as well. We are now going to mix for 20 seconds speed 4. Or, if you're using electric beaters, just whisk it until it's smooth. When you're finished, we're going to take our spatula and we're going to loosen any kind of flour that's stuck around the sides. So just scrape down. You might need to go below the surface a little bit as well. When that is done, we're going to repeat the mixing process for about 5 seconds at a speed 4. Or just use your electric beaters again. Now this recipe yields approximately 18 to 24 cupcakes depending on the size of your cupcake casings. We're going to do 18 today. So you're going to line 2 cupcake trays with your casings and start filling them about 2/3 full with batter. Take care not to overfill your casings like I did with a few of mine. My first one was probably about the best and a few of the other ones were a bit full. You're going to end up with some little muffin tops. We are now ready to bake our cupcakes. I prefer to use a conventional oven as I just find the result a lot neater, but you can use a fan force as well. If you do, drop your degrees down by about 15. Now as you can see, some of my muffins ended up a little bit overhanging and I did end up actually trimming them around just to make them all the same. Now leave your cupcakes to cool completely, and when you have the time, make your Swiss meringue buttercream. This buttercream works on a 1-2-3 part system, so we need 1 part of egg whites, 2 parts of sugar and 3 parts of butter. I use 5 egg whites for mine, which works out to be approximately 160 grams, and I work out my other ingredients based on that. We are now at the point that's going to make this a Swiss meringue. We're going to add an egg and sugar mixture and put it over a double boiler. Make sure your bowl does not touch the simmering water. It is important to whisk continuously to avoid scrambling the eggs. When you can't see any visible sugar crystals, you can test the mixture by placing a little bit of mixture between 2 fingers, rubbing them together to see if you can feel any sugar crystals. When it's completely smooth, the mixture is done. Gently remove the bowl from the heat, taking care not to burn yourself. this part, it is a good idea to use a stand mixer, just for your own sanity's sake, as this next part does take a little while. You will also need a whisk attachment to help make the meringue. Add your warm sugar and egg mixture to the bowl. Place the whisk attachment into the bowl and start whisking on a medium speed. This part will take quite a while and it could potentially take up to 10 to 15 minutes. You need to wait until stiff peak forms and the bowl is cool to touch on the outside. Meanwhile, you can cube your butter. You're going to need approximately 480 to 500 grams, which is about 1 pound. When the bowl is cool to touch, it is now time to remove the whisk attachment. Try to remove as much of the meringue as possible. We are now going to get our paddle attachment or our flat beaters ready. This is going to help us incorporate the butter. At this point, I also usually add any colours or flavours that I need to add. Try to make sure that you use a clear flavour, not a dark vanilla. You should be able to find this in your local cake decorating supply store. Place your butter to the side and start up your paddle beater. We are now going to start adding our butter 1 cube at a time, whisking well in between. It is very common at this point that your buttercream will look like it has split. Don't worry, just keep whisking and it will come together. The buttercream is done and it's time to remove the paddle attachment. Take care to remove as much of the buttercream as you can so we don't waste anything. Place your icing into a piping bag equipped with a medium-sized nozzle. I like using Arteco 864, but the Wilton 2D or 1M are also absolutely excellent tips to use. Pipe your icing using one smooth fluid motion. If you're unsure of how to do this, you can practice on a clean plate, scrape off the icing and try again. You are now ready to serve. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again next time.